Time with US.
In this program we talk about American and Pakistani culture, education, sports, agriculture.
हम बात करेंगे अमरीकी तारीख, सकाफत, खेल और इससे जुड़े मुख्तलिफ मौज़ूआत पर.
And American and Pakistani music.
Time with the US. This is your host, Will Holton, here with my friend Wasim as always. Wasim, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Will.
And we have two wonderful guests joining us, Rahat and Melissa. Thank you guys for being here as well.
Happy to be here.
Great, both from the U.S. Embassy to give us a little perspective and a little discussion about Eid. Melissa has lived here in Pakistan before, experiencing it as an American, and Rahat is our Pakistani expert here to tell us all about traditions, along with Wasim. And Melissa also lived in Turkey, so you can give us a little perspective of the outside. And then we'll also do our best to try to give some perspective on how Muslims in America celebrate Eid. And we were here a few weeks ago talking about Ramadan with our friend Imtiaz, and I learned a lot, and I think I shared a little bit that he also learned. So I guess now everybody's had their iftars. Is the last iftar extra special, or is it just normal?
Can you tell?
Yeah, actually, last iftar is very special because after the iftar, there is like announcement for Eid, and so that evening is very special. That's a Chand Raat. So a lot of people like actually celebrate Chand Raat, and now in shopping malls and the restaurants, all are busy and occupied.
Okay.
Space, but a lot of girls go out for mehndi and like.
Right.
So it's a fun night.
So there's one twist to it. It's actually very interesting when you sight the moon on 29th of Ramadan, because you have just taken your iftar, and then suddenly there is an announcement that tomorrow is Eid. While otherwise we have the 30th. If you don't sight the moon, we have the 30th Ramadan coming, which is like one more iftar added. So
and who is it that sights the moon here in Pakistan?
It's officially the Hilal Committee.
Okay.
That is a committee of religious scholars.
Okay.
Coupled with the Ministry of Science and Technology and the Met Office.
Great.
They all make arrangements to sign.
And so I guess it happens differently depending on where you are in the world, right? Because the moon is maybe one way one night somewhere, but somewhere else different.
That's true.
Yeah, very interesting. And so we've had now the last iftar. So what happens now? What's next for Eid starting? So Eid officially, we are in Eid now, right?
Yeah.
So now that we've officially started, all our listeners out there, you're probably at the mall or out shopping or maybe celebrating in one way or the another. What's the traditional Pakistani way of celebrating?
Celebrating Eid.
Like the beginning of Eid, like now.
Eid night.
Eid night, yes, thank you. Eid night.
So Eid night mostly like girls are especially like they stay up really late night. So they do a lot of stuff like their mehndi, hennas on their hands.
Right.
So they go to the parlor, they get that thing. But a lot of like the women at home, like myself also, I cook. Like I start cooking like from late night, so I prepare like what the sweet dish will be in the morning, what will be like the rest of dishes, because a lot of like you expect like a lot of guests in the next morning at your home, and like your family, you invited them for dinner, so that kind of thing is for night, and especially like for Eid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing, if you could just, because we are blessed to have the cameras here at our studio
today. Right.
One very important thing that Rahat missed actually is the tradition of going to Ramazan Bazaar and getting the bangles of your choice.
All right.
Okay. So this is something people did last night, the night before. Not now, but they would have already gotten their bangles to wear today, right?
Yeah, with their like dresses, matching bangles.
And so, ladies, can you show us your bangles for those in the studio?
Mine are over there.
Beautiful.
I thought they would
playing too much when we were talking because I'm a hand talker.
Ah.
So
Okay,
I didn't wear
alright.
my necklace.
Well, I know on last Ramzan Sunday night, I went to the market and it was crazy. So I got there right around iftar, like right after iftar, and it was quiet. And was there about an hour, and by the time I left, it was just people everywhere, just so much shopping, so much just walking around. So everybody's shopping, kind of like we were talking about in the U.S. Thanksgiving. It's like the day before Thanksgiving. Everybody's kind of out getting their last minute things for those Eid gifts. Like, what are Eid gifts, or do you give Eid gifts?
It's not like a tradition for
Okay.
giving Eid gifts. Like, it's if you wanted to give a gift somebody, you can. But mostly the tradition is giving, like, if you are elder, you have to give money to the
Right. Okay.
for
so the young,
all the kids
yes,
who come at your
yes.
place, or you are going somebody's home. So either you cook something at home and take that dish along with the other
Right.
person, but like you give the money to the kids. That's
Right.
the main tradition.
I mean,
There's different ways that happens, right? Different ways that the children can ask
Yeah.
for the elders to give them money.
Yeah, it's like totally fine if the kids ask you, because like they can argue with you. Like
And-
if I have a nieces, if I give them like 500, they probably don't agree on that. They say like, no, we need like 1,000 or 2,000, so you have to add.
Okay, smart kids.
Isn't it? Is it? I think it's Bangladesh where they have to. Is it like they have to kiss the elder on like the feet? There's a country where
Oh,
they have
wow.
to go up and to ask for it. They have to like bend down and like. But if they have done that, you have to pay up. There's no getting out of it. No getting out of it.
Again, kids are very smart when it comes to using these traditions to benefit themselves. And what about, I keep hearing about Eid clothes. Like, what are Eid clothes? Like, just new clothes you buy, or like, do you wear something special, or anything
like the one you're wearing today.
Okay, like that's shalwar kameez. Yes.
Yes. For men, it's like mostly like shalwar kameez, kurtas.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
like Eid tradition.
Okay.
But especially for girls and women, they like wearing special dresses. Like
Okay.
Yeah. So it
Is it the level of like a wedding type
sort of-
dress?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess we could
Something
compare it to Easter Sunday in the
Easter
U.S.
Sunday,
Again,
yeah.
like, your Easter Sunday best. People go out, they wear their nicest dress
Yeah,
clothes.
nicest
and
dress.
yeah.
Now we have the outlets where ready-made suits are available, but tailors, they are so much in demand that
Oh,
by the time Ramadan
yeah.
begins, they would say we can't give you because we already have enough bookings that
Right.
you'll have to
Yeah.
find another tailor.
Right.
Are there particular colors associated with Eid? Do people tend to wear more of one color or a different color?
No, like any color they can wear, but
Whatever
it's-
looks good on you.
Whatever looks good, but it's like Eid. They celebrate like if here in Pakistan we celebrate for 3 days. So if you are wearing one outfit one day, the next day you wear another outfit the third day. So like that's another
right.
thing you have to figure out, like how many people are guests you are going or like inviting. So you have be like 3 dresses or 2 dresses in wardrobe. So
Right.
yeah, that's another task. Like mostly girls are fighting.
Right. Yeah, you want to make sure. Yeah, you're looking good.
Yeah.
So you have to prepare all of the food, you have to do all of the shopping, and you have to do outfit changes throughout
Yeah.
your visitation.
Yes.
Who gives you money for Eid?
Yeah, so it's like my parents basically, and like my elder brother, my sister.
Right, okay.
They gave me the money. So
Nice.
but I give a lot of money to my like.
Right, and then yeah,
No,
that's-
But it's certainly not about money.
Yeah, no, it's about
Yeah,
giving, right?
giving,
and
yeah.
so,
So it can be anything.
and so we're going to take a quick break for our listeners out there, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the tradition of giving during Ramadan and Eid, and some of the ways Melissa and I have seen that in the U.S. So we'll be right back.
Tea Time with US.
In this program we talk about American and Pakistani culture, education, sports, agriculture,
हम बात करेंगे अमरीकी तारीख, सकाफत, खेल और इससे जुड़े मुख्तलिफ मौज़ूआत पर।
and American and Pakistani music.
Don't forget to listen to Tea Time with US. Only on Power 99.
Ramadan is about giving and charity and respecting your fellow man and empathizing with him through fasting and in the U.S. you see this throughout Ramadan. People, which I've seen here in Islamabad as well, the iftars that people will provide for poor people or for just anyone in general who wants to partake. And in the U.S. you see people doing that. Muslim Americans will go to soup kitchens, and even to non-Muslims, they're giving the food, giving back to their communities. They'll do community events throughout the month. And then at Eid, there's kind of these big festivals, like probably similar to what happens here that I've seen in the markets and stuff. People doing the henna, the mindi, and women doing the henna mindi, and people walking around. In the U.S., it's a little more of a American carnivalistic atmosphere, the ones I've been at. But it's very celebratory. Can't talk right now. But also there's usually that kind of giving element back to it. So they'll be raising money for a charity or for a specific cause or something like that. So I think because people often think being Muslim in America is different than being Muslim in Pakistan or wherever you are in the world. But so many of the traditions are still celebrated and are still the same. Have you experienced that, Melissa?
Yeah, I would say I think that's the common theme that I've seen in the United States. I've lived in 4 Muslim majority countries.
Okay.
And I think that's the theme, right? Is that it's about reconnecting with family, spending time with friends. It's a lot of reflection.
Absolutely.
Reflection on, am I the person that I want to be? Am I doing good works? The charity piece of it is really big. Last year, there was a beautiful story in southeast Turkey of a couple who decided to, as their wedding feast, host it essentially an iftar where anybody could attend. And so I want to say it was several thousands of people who showed up. And the bride and groom in wedding dress. She was in her white wedding dress and he was in his tuxedo. And that's what they did as their sort of act of service during Ramadan, was to serve their community their wedding feast in lieu of doing, a hotel room catered sort of
right.
So I think that's a big part of it. I think acts of service in the U.S. is a big piece of it, where you see a lot of Muslims during Ramadan volunteering, not just at soup kitchens, but like you said, raising money for charity, a lot of fun runs.
Right.
You'll see people doing like a 5K where they, I'm going to run 5K, please donate, and that money will go towards a particular charity.
And I think what I would, say is also, the U.S. in general, we have a very strong culture of service, of community service, of giving back to your community. And so I encourage all of our listeners out there, which I'm sure that everyone else would as well, but not to just give back during Ramadan, but give back all the time, because it is an important thing, and I think it's something that we always instill in our communities, and so it's great to see that is a tradition already built in there. What are some of the most interesting acts of service you've seen, or what in general is just kind of the basic things that people do?
So here, mostly in the mosque, they offer free food for a lot of people. So and I saw a lot of people while they are traveling or coming different cities, on the roads there are banners like a free iftar for here. So people can just stop their cars on the roadside, can have iftar and then start their journey. So it's not an issue. If anybody is traveling or something, they can stop to any mosque and go inside. Definitely there would be a free iftar or those sort of things. So a lot of people do share.
They call it Aftar Dastarkhan. You might have seen in Islamabad, different places.
Probably,
yeah. Sitting
yes.
at around Iftar and having the community dinner.
Right. Yeah. And so now Iftar is done. We've broken our fast and we don't have to go back. So there are 2 days now, though, right? So we're on the night before the first day, and then there's the second day. So what's the difference between the first day and the second day?
Okay, so the first night is basically, that's a preparation.
It's like right now.
Yeah, so people are preparing for the next day, the big day actually. So for next day, in the first thing in the morning, all the men at the house, they go to the mosque for prayer.
Okay.
So that's mostly like early in the morning, around 6-7 o'clock. So meanwhile, the kids at home, they get ready, the women especially, they get ready and they make a sweet dish. So yeah, so when everybody will come back from the mosque, that's the tradition. You have to just say Eid Mubarak or like yeah, so then you take the money out of that.
That's when the money comes.
Give us the money now. The Eid has been officially started.
Is it a particular sweet dish? Or any sweet dish?
Yeah, any sweet dish. But it's like there are 2 or 3 specific dishes like mostly people cook. Like there is a sheer korma. There is
it's not like gulab jamun.
Not a gulab jamun, and also like kheer. Kheer is like kheer is also another like famous thing.
Rice
like,
and milk and yeah.
So
in village, I don't know about in the city since it's far bigger area, but in the village. The relatives, they're expected to have different dishes. So if they know that traditionally I've been making this dish, my other relative would try to make a different dish, so that when we go around greeting Eid to everybody, we get to taste a different thing. So many dishes, as mentioned by Rahat.
But sweet dish is like important in the morning before the breakfast.
It's actually called meaty.
Sweetie.
Yeah.
Sweetie. Okay. Nice. Nice. And so, Melissa, have you seen Eid celebrated differently in the countries you go to? Like, are these traditions that, or you guys can chime in too, having been other places? Like, is it unique to Pakistan? Like, it's a religious holiday, so obviously Muslims around the world are celebrating Eid. But, everywhere has a different flavor, different, way of doing things. So maybe you guys could share some of those other ways that other Muslims are celebrating.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so much of it is local context, right? It's access to other people and the ability to host some of these things. Your level of affluence, of course, matters when it comes to celebrating in a particular way. I sort of love how creative people get with these types of celebrations. When I lived in Togo in West Africa, not a particularly affluent village, so it was a really big deal for the community to come together to purchase, for instance, like several goats that everybody could share. This was a big deal, and this was a community effort. You've done your harvest, you've saved all of your money, you've gone out to market, you've sold what you can sell, and everybody has come back together now and has shared essentially the bounty. In the States, of course, tends to be slightly, certainly more affluent than northern Togo, but the neighborhood I grew up in was a fairly poor neighborhood, and so you saw, again, a lot of this communal sort of coming together. Not necessarily moving from house to house, but in fact picking one house, and everybody comes together and sits down together as a temporary family in a lot of ways, because these are not necessarily people who are blood relatives. What they have in common is the fact that they are celebrating Eid. But they were also very welcoming of those of us that weren't. And this is one of the things that I've always loved most about everywhere that I've lived, is there's this spirit of, you're welcome to the table. We know that you're not Muslim, we know that you maybe didn't fast, but you're welcome to come break fast with us. And during Eid, you're welcome to stop by the house and come in. And I did learn to bring coins. In Togo, I learned to bring a lot of coins to give out to the kids. But I think that, again, it's that spirit of just sort of, we're all in this together.
And I think, that's an awesome point, because I felt that here in Islamabad for sure.
Absolutely.
Going to different iftars and just being very welcomed with my questions, and just, people, begin welcoming me into their homes and things like that. And that's something you see in the U.S. too. We talked about a few weeks ago how because people's work schedules are a little different there, that you don't kind of get the hours changed and things, so people have to become creative. And IHOP, the International House of Pancakes, has become a big iftar spot in America. And and it's, you have people from different religions, different communities, there together and talking and sharing their religious experiences, and also just sharing their human experiences. And so it's a really interesting way to see how much of a melting pot the U.S. is, and how we all come together, but how there's so much mutual respect. And I think that's really important, that when we talk about religious freedom and religious tolerance around the world, which we do a lot, really that respect for all communities is the most important thing. and even talking to my Pakistani colleagues, who some are Christian, some are Muslim, and some are Hindu, and they all still during Ramadan everybody's still welcome to break fast together
it's always nice to be invited somewhere and not judged for getting something wrong.
Yes, exactly.
Because of course, as a non-Muslim, you may show up at iftar and have no idea what the rules are. Certainly, your first iftar, I think, is a big deal for a non-Muslim because you feel very honored to be invited, and then B, when you get there, you don't necessarily know what's about to happen, but people are so generous and so kind and so excited to share it and to talk about what it means to them. I went to an iftar that was hosted by a Lebanese family, and it was unlike any other iftar I had been to because they had a live band throughout the dinner, and this was not something I had seen in a lot of places. Iftars that I had been to tended to be much more conversational and not performance necessarily, but this Lebanese family had hired a quartet to play throughout the dinner, which was something new, and I didn't know what is the protocol for this? Am I supposed to applaud? Am I supposed to just pretend they're not there? But it's just the spirit of welcoming and the spirit of like, hey, we'll explain it to you. We're not going to judge you for not knowing this. We're going to talk about it, which is lovely.
And we were talking about sympathy fasting earlier. Non-Muslims fasting during Ramadan, and I will admit I did not fast during Ramadan, but I did go to iftar at Pizza Hut, which I know a lot of people out, or a lot of our listeners might have done the same. And I had like 5 minutes of sympathy fasting where the food's in front of you and you're just waiting to eat. And I was like, I ate lunch and I'm still like, I can't understand what you're going through, but wow, this is hard. So I hope everyone out there has had a pleasant fasting time and now is going to eat a lot of great food at Eid. So I know that like bukara and the rose water drink, and there's the very specific iftar things. So what are the specific Eid foods you might eat?
So Eid special is like mix of lot of actually food. So so it's like in the morning there is like for breakfast mostly halwa puri is like one of the tradition my family had. Like we invite like our cousins or family in the morning, like come over, have halwa puri and those kind of thing. But then like in lunchtime we make like chana chaat, dahi bade, chicken roast, and like biryani is another big like dish we make like during Eid dinners. So that's like.
And is that so? So is your family from Islamabad?
Yes.
Okay. So are those Islamabad? Like, is Karachi traditions different? Punjab traditions different? Or?
Must be like Lahoris. Like you can say in Lahore, a lot of people are like they are foodies and like they cook a lot of other dishes. So, yeah. So my family. So it's regional.
It is regional.
So she's talking about halwa puri in the morning. Maybe if you go to Lahore on the Eid day, it would be nihari and pie.
Okay.
Yeah. Lots of beef and lots of
Right. So different. Yeah, and that's kind of where the regional.
Yeah, but people also do barbecue also,
but
and like
that's usually at
evening
Eid
time.
Eid
Eid night or something.
Once the Eid day has passed, and then you have the family get together, and then you do the barbecue.
So Melissa, while you lived in 4 Muslim majority countries, have you gotten to see Eid in any of them?
A little bit. It is very family centric.
Right.
I think that particularly that first morning, and so I tend to. First of all, I don't want to get up at 6 a.m.
Right.
Sorry, I don't want to get up at 6 a.m. first. I do know in Turkey they tend to kick it off again with dates. It's regional. It's delicious.
Right.
It's there. I've been to a couple of Eid dinners. Very elaborate, very lavish. Just as many dishes as you can imagine. I think there's a pride in that. This is the same everywhere, though, right? Like,
no, definitely.
I think every culture has a bit of a food culture built into it, and it's that host or hostess pride in putting out the best to your ability.
Right.
And Turkish food is amazing. I mean, Pakistani food and Turkish food might be tied up there for some of the best. So it was just a lot of very elaborate. Again, this idea of sharing and making sure that everybody is very well fed and probably going to fall asleep in their rice.
Right.
So. It was great, though.
Yes. Well, I mean, again, we can compare a little to Thanksgiving here, where it comes to the giant meals,
that element
lots
of family coming together.
Family coming together. And in a way, it's very similar themes, and it's a great, nice, warm feeling. I think I don't know if you guys feel that about Eid, but Thanksgiving, you kind of, your belly's full, you're surrounded by people you love, and you just kind of, In the U.S., we watch football. Maybe people go out and play cricket here.
Oh, this year it's workout.
Oh, that's right. Wow. Eid double. So is it actually during Eid?
It is. It's taking place right now. So,
wow.
Pakistan has so many matches to come.
Oh,
we
wow.
hope that our cricket team performs better.
Okay.
So that.
How have they performed so far?
Well, they.
And don't say anything to. Yeah, I shouldn't ask that question. We don't want to get Wasim into death threats for saying anything bad about the Pakistani.
Pakistan can always bounce back. It's called the unpredictable cricket world champion.
Right.
They won the World Cup, so they can always come.
They can definitely, and one other thing. As we wrap up that we've been talking about is that Ramadan changes every year because it's based on the moon, and so Ramadan during December and Ramadan right now are two very different things. So does that, obviously there's the effect of less daytime and easier fasting and different things like that, but and it's so hot out right now. I worry sometimes about people not drinking any water and being out in the sun. But as long as people are taking care of themselves, that's what's important. But does it feel different? Do things change depending on the season? Because we're used to a lot of the holidays in the U.S., like Thanksgiving, is same day every year. So sure, maybe Florida and New York, you have some differences, but again, that's regional. But it's always that same time of year. So with Ramadan changing, does it feel different every year or at all, or is it just kind of the same?
Yeah, I think from last 5 years it's the same.
Yeah,
more than that.
It's always been hot out.
So I'm not lucky enough to have fast during December yet.
Right.
But I think in October I had fast. So
okay.
That time obviously I remember was very easy.
Right.
You keep fast and it's due to the weather, of course. You are you don't feel dehydrated or something like that. But in June or May it's pretty hard, in Pakistan. So of course the timings are. But I think this in the beginning for first 2-3 rosas, they are difficult. But then your body gets used to of it and
right.
So then it feels in the middle part of 10 days it feels more comfortable. Last 10 parts because during those
so I personally prefer the winter Ramadan, not because it's easier but also because the nights are very long. It starts from 5-6 p.m. and then you have to wait till 8 in the morning, then actually the day begins, and then waking up at around 4 actually makes kind of sense. It's you've already rested for 6 or 7 hours and then you wake up. But in summers you sleep by 11 and then you have to wake up at 2 again for Sari. It's kind of 3 or 4 hours in between. So winter times are...
Setting aside the timing, how has your perception or your appreciation of Ramadan and Eid changed from when you were a kid to now you are adults, right? And your heads of family, is it now you are in charge, right? So how does it feel different? Do you appreciate it more? Do you appreciate, not appreciate it less, but certainly, how has your perception of it changed as an adult from when you were a child?
Yeah, that's true. Every phase has a beautiful feeling, but as a kid, you enjoy it more.
You're getting the money, you're not having to give it away.
You have no responsibility and all the fun.
When you were a kid, did you feel you understood why this celebration was important?
Yes, very. I remember Eid was the day. I remember okay, I have to be dressed up. I have to go to meet a lot of people, and then we'll get a lot of EID, and then so that kind of thing was from very beginning. I knew the Eid is because everybody at the home they are fasting, so I know Eid is coming up. So as a kid, you have those kind of teachings.
Oh, it's your countdown.
Yeah, but now it's more responsibility. You have to cook for everybody, to clean and make clean up your home and look good. So that's a lot of things you have to do now. But since it's had another good opportunity. You go to and meet your like family friends, like you never meet them like during sometime like in a year time. So I go to my village actually. I sometime like on Eid, because after a year that time come up, like I go to my village and meet everybody there. So that's a good feeling actually.
That's great. Well, we're going to wrap up our Eid discussion here. I hope everybody out there is celebrating to their heart's content, preparing all the food, or out for their Eid night, thank you, Eid night walks. Maybe if everybody wants to share their one last thought or their favorite Eid memory with our listeners. I was going to say mine is my first Eid. So I grew up in Iowa, where there's a very small Muslim population, I would say. So I didn't really get that exposure, to a lot of different religions that you can get. You get in a lot of places. So when I went to college, and I made friends who were Muslim, and we had a very American college experience of in a college room, sitting down for Eid dinner, exactly. It was this huge feast, and just talking, hearing from international students and Muslims in America, and just, learning about what Ramadan was and Ramazan, and exactly just the warm feelings around it and the memories, and just hearing that from everybody for the first time was so inspiring and exciting. And so I've always had an appreciation ever since for Ramadan and Eid, and I'm so excited to be here this year, and already have experienced some exciting new things. And for the next 2 days, hopefully I'll get to eat a lot and see the different cultural aspects that are behind this holiday. Okay, your turn.
So, I would like to start.
Okay, so I'll start it. Like on this Eid, like 2 things are very special for me. Like my daughter born this year.
Oh yes, congratulations! That's exciting.
Yeah, so it's her first Eid.
Yeah.
So I bought a little like a frog, like a very
great.
Yeah, so it's a bright little frog. So she will be her first Eid, and also my brother is in town. Like after 10 years, we are celebrating for first time. So it's like my mom had inviting all the families at my mom's place. So we'll be having a big dinner, so that's excited.
I'm sure a lot of families out there are having kind of that same things. Pakistanis are spread out across the world, and so I'm sure many people are. It's a great time to come back. So hopefully everyone out there, it's kind of like in the U.S. our Christmas, coming home for Christmas. You finally get to see those relatives you haven't seen in so long, like we're talking about. So that's great. Okay, Melissa, you're up.
Yeah, I think this is why holidays like Eid are so wonderful, because it's a moment to check in, right?
Yes.
I haven't been back to village in a year. I haven't talked to so-and-so in so long. And so I think that's the beauty of holidays like Eid, New Year's, Christmas for us is just a literal reminder to say, how are things going? How are my family and friends? Am I living the life that I should be living?
Right.
Doing what I want to be doing? And it's just a great time for reflection.
Absolutely.
So, and for me, it just coincides with my return to Pakistan, which
right.
is lovely. It's always fun to come back on festival day.
Yeah.
And get to see everyone in their best mood, just dressed up and celebrating and happy. So I'm excited. Yeah. Eid Mubarak.
And for me, apart from whatever you've said, it's a great time to meet with the family and friends that you've never checked in for a year maybe. But since Eid has been falling with the summer vacations for the past 3 or 4 years, more than 4 years, and people have been traveling crazily to the northern areas.
Right.
The second day of Eid, everybody leaves for northern areas. So this year also, maybe make some excellent plans. Do travel because from next year, Eid might not have as many holidays.
Right. Not much time to work with. Yeah. Well, yeah, I've heard that Islamabad gets very quiet because everyone's out in the village or out traveling. So
Istanbul is 18 million people, and I think there's 1 million people in the city.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Empties. Yeah.
Well, we hope that everybody out there has safe travels, has a happy Eid Mubarak, and we'll be back again next week, same time, same place on Power 99 FM. So thank you guys for being here, and Eid Mubarak to everyone.
Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak.